Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Betrayal at Krondor. So up around here, we saw a couple items on the map with our spyglass. So let's go take a look to see what those are. There's two of them. It usually means Moradel wordlock chests. Well, 57 quality emerald and a 76 quality Moradel brooch. So we got one chest and one Moradel wordlock chest. Clays. It stands while others sit. It groans when it is too full. It has 4 legs but cannot run. Table? Yeah, it looks like that's it. Yep. Scroll of Thoughts Like Clouds, 7 gold. What is that? Volatile Milk. That is nice and stacking. I'm gonna need to run back to this, that shop. 78 quality, ruby. Yeah, I kind of feel like selling off, that's Kenton Rush, I think. I'm going to sell off these rubies. And emeralds and stuff like that. Alright, let's go ahead and rest. It's not the building that I want. That is, though. Okay, 83 quality ruby. I'll accept that. 56 quality shell. It's okay. Will you buy that? Nope. It's 86 quality. 246. Nice. You won't buy that. 78 quality. Jeez, I am getting a ton of money. I like it. I don't suppose you'll buy that. No. Alright. Not sure if I want to keep Thoughts Like Clouds or not. Nah, I don't need to sharpen that right now. There was a magic shop. I'm not sure if I can sell that there. You know what? I might as well just sell it. I got so much money, it doesn't matter if I keep some of these things. Let's go run and sell some stuff. Right, you're up there. There we go. Okay. I'll have to sell that in Caval Keep. Will you buy this? No. Dang it. Alright, you will buy that. No one to sell some of these things to. 133 sovereigns for it. That is fine. I should also employ the clerical oilcloth, I think. There might be a shop in Kenton Rush that I can sell some of this other stuff in. Usually there's some place on every map that you can sell the things at. Just so that you're not really, like, stuck with the stuff, unable to really sell it. Somewhat easily. Although there might have to be 2 shops in this, in Kenton Rush for that to work. I don't know. Let's go ahead and sell you. I do not think that I can sell you. Nope. Nope, don't want those. Alright. Back we go. Heading north. I got a building over that way. Let's go check it out. Private residence. Goroth was about to knock, but his knuckles touched nothing save air as the door swung out of his reach. Accepting the mysterious invitation, they entered the dwelling slowly. There were shelves on every wall and books on every shelf. Owen's eyes fell upon a wooden staff in the corner of the room. "Ah, you've already found my lightning staff. You like it, I can tell." The voice came from a man sitting on a chair in one corner of the room. The table in front of him was stacked with papers, making his huddled form hard to see. "I am Shorel. Prove your worthiness to me, and I will give it to you." "What kind of game are you playing?" Goroth demanded. His eyes little more than slits, the magician replied slowly. "Not a game." He turned to stare at Owen. "If you can answer 3 questions, I would give you my staff. But fail this little test, and I shall extract a payment in gold. Care to try your luck?" "Not right now." "Then be gone from my home, and don't bother to return." The magician began shuffling his papers noisily. Slouching down to write, he disappeared from sight completely, and didn't mutter another sound as they exited. I guess I do have the space. Let's try it. "Excellent," said the sorcerer. "Come, sit before me, and we shall begin." Owen did as he was instructed, much to the chagrin of Goroth, who sat down quietly nearby, one hand placed strategically on the handle of his sword. "The first question, Owen, is this. Our great and mighty pug claims to know magic of the greater path and magic of the lesser path. Is this truly possible?" Alright, well, I think that's going to be yes, but let me see if I have answers here. Okay, yes. "Very good, my friend," Shorel muttered. "You have but 2 questions remaining." He shifted in his chair, shuffled through some papers on his desk, then continued. "Dragon lords once ruled this planet. One of these, Valheru, Draken Korin, called himself Lord of the Eagles. Do I tell the truth of this?" "I have no idea." I'm going to go with no. "You have answered correctly once again," said the sorcerer. His smile turned icy. "Now, only 1 question remains. Answer it correctly, and you shall have my staff." Goroth looked at the magician coldly, not liking the evil fire that seemed to be erupting on his face. Suddenly, Owen began to shout, "My eyes! What have you done to my eyes, you black demon? I can't see!" In an instant, Goroth sprang to his feet, drawing his sword. "Wait, I haven't done anything to your eyes," sputtered the startled Shorel. "Can't you see me?" he shouted, waving his hands in the air wildly. Owen smiled broadly. "I'm sorry, my mistake. Yes, I can see you just fine." He winked at the sorcerer. "Foolish me, and I thought your last question was going to be hard, perhaps even impossible to answer." Without waiting for a response, he grabbed the lightning staff and began to head for the door. "Come on," he shouted over his shoulder. "We better leave, now." Alright, I have no idea what that was all about. That has 30 uses. Mine has 40 uses. I can probably sell that in Sarth, I think. At least that's where I bought my other one. They were greeted at the door by a very tired-looking woman. "Good day, travelers. How can I be of service to you?" "What can you tell us of Kenton Rush? We are curious about this place in which you live," James said kindly.
"Well, sirs, it is a nice enough place, though lately there have been some shady-looking characters hanging around by the well."
She paused for a moment, then pointed to a nearby field.
"My husband is out harvesting grain. He works over there. Let's see, what else can I tell you? Oh, yes, be very careful of the sorcerer who lives down the road. He has a habit of tricking people out of their money. Asks them 3 questions. The first 2 are very simple, but no one has ever answered the last one correctly."
They thanked the woman for their time and were on their way. So yes, that third question is a trick question. Can't you see me? I get that. Let's see. James sniffed. Stepping just inside the tavern's doorway, he detected the faint but familiar scent of lye. Do we have an inn here, or is this just a tavern? It looks like it's just a tavern. Despite the Dagger and Star Tavern, despite the fact that that light was dim and pooled only in shallow corners, the mood within seemed cheerful as the tavern keeper animatedly related tales of mischief, reaping gales of laughter from people who had most likely heard his story dozens of times. Let's go ahead and do some barding. 71 sovereigns. Hello, fellow. Gambler's out of cash. What about you, slumped fellow? James motioned to the man across the room. "Sometimes I come to this place to drink and gab," the man said. "But sometimes I come to gab." "Well, then perhaps you could tell us," James began hopefully. Before he could finish, the man interrupted. "Today I just came to drink." How rude. "Alright, what about you, Devon?" "Good day," said James. Without turning his attention towards them, the man responded, "I normally enjoy talking to strangers, but today I'd rather just enjoy my ale." "Very well, then," James replied, heeding the man's wishes. "Perhaps we will return at another time." Alright, barkeep. Let's see. I'm okay on food at the moment. Nothing else? Alright. Wonder if there's an inn here. It's private residence. Owen rapped on the door with the back of his hand. "Coming, hang on, just a second," said a mirthful voice inside the house. "Okay, here I am." The door opened wide, and a large bearded man joined them in front of the house. Owen cleared his throat, then said, "We'd like to talk with you if you could spare a moment of your time." Now the large man was eyeing Gorath suspiciously. "Wait a minute," he said, a broad grin erupting on his face like a volcano. "Leroux hired you, didn't he?" The man rocked back with laughter. "Oh, this is going to be the best joke yet." Still laughing, he retreated into his house, refusing to answer any more questions. Huh? Whoa? Okay. I'm not going to bother looking for an inn. James sniffed the air. While for the better part of the last hour he had been trying to piece together the details of the murder at the Black Sheep Tavern, something else had begun nagging at him, elusive as the names of all the mockers he'd once known. It had only been a few minutes of consideration that he'd realized what it was that distracted him. "Do you smell anything odd?" he asked Gorath. Struck by the oddity of smelling jasmine in the open, he could spot no natural flora that could account for the scent. But while searching, he thought he spotted someone moving down the road towards them. Navon du Sandau. "There's little here to give event enough to warrant visitors from the Bitter Sea, and if that weren't enough, it seems we have guests as well from Elvandar. Welcome to Kenton Rush." This may sound a strange question, but a moment ago I thought I smelled spice. Jasmine, to be exact. Does it grow near here? "You have a keen nose. Unfortunately, it isn't local. I deal in spices, as well as a number of other imported goods. I've just returned from a lengthy trip into Kesh, and I am afraid the scent clings a bit to the clothes." "But you've only just come up the road. I've been smelling it for some while." "I am told the scent carries. There is a bit of a wind today. So, as you are travelers in the area, and dealing with the natives can sometimes be difficult, is there any way I can be of some assistance to you?" Oh, hey, what do you know about chess? Ivan Skald in Moloch's Cross tells us you are quite a chess player. High praise. He isn't too terrible at it himself. That's something I forgot. He told us you have a move called Sandau's Retreat. I'd be intrigued to learn it from you. I couldn't just give away a move like that. It's kept me undefeated for several years now. I'd be willing to pay you to learn how. You're after Ivan, aren't you? He won't know what's hit him until you have him. As I recall, he always bets an emerald, so I'll let you at least get something from the win. Say 100 gold sovereigns? Deal? Sure. It'll be worth it just to see the look on his face. Proceed. Give me a moment to find a few appropriate stones. If you would sketch out a board in the dirt, I will show you the architecture of a grand humiliation. James grinned. As Navon played out his moves using an odd assortment of stones, it was apparent the play would be devastating if used against an aggressive opponent. Think you can remember all of that? Navon asked, brushing the dirt from his hands. Not a problem, James replied, dumping Navon's fee onto the hastily created chessboard. I think Ivan is in for quite a surprise. This might be, like, a different way that we could beat him, I guess. Count Corvallis. What reason would Count Corvallis have to dislike you, Navon? Perhaps he is an overprotective father. Who is to say? I'm frankly surprised he hasn't hired a band of Nighthawks to have me killed. I ask too many questions for his tastes. You think he has connections to the Guild of Assassins? It's a well-known fact he is surrounded by Nighthawks. They guard his house, his lands, Caval Keep. When his daughter Ugin and I have time together, we are always followed by assassins, though they never wear their guild clothing while working for the Count. Why don't any of the local people do anything about it? Surely they object to having Nighthawks loose in the area. They look the other way. As long as none of them are being killed, it doesn't concern them. I'm sure that's even true in Krondor. Well, as we have appointments elsewhere, we should probably be on our way. Good traveling to you, then, and if you ever have any need of anything and are in Kenton Rush, be sure to come and see me. I'm not sure I believe him. Ah, there's the inn. Wait, was it closed? Well, I guess it's a good thing that I camped in the street. Private residence. The hammering inside the house offered a perfect musical counterpoint to James's rapping on the small front door. Presently, a young man sporting a long beard answered the knocks. Yes? Can't you see I'm quite busy here? They looked past the man and saw a large block of granite, a beautiful woman emerging from the stone like a delicate flower opening to the sun. You're carving a woman? Gorath inquired. The man shifted his weight from his left to his right foot impatiently, and then said sarcastically, No, actually, I'm trying to cover a very pale, still woman with a big rock. With that, he rudely closed the door in their faces. James turned to leave. Artists, he spit angrily. Now that is rude, James. Not all artists are rude. James hesitated. Noticing the finely engraved sign above the door, he read it aloud. David Tatum, Scribe. Among other things, replied a strong voice. Historian, philosopher, mathematician. Oh god, he's going to use math skills on us. Run! Run! I have my nose in everything. Emerging from the building's cover, the scribe cast a knowing look at Gorath as he continued. Right now, I'm investigating combat tactics. Perhaps you would be interested in helping. And what would we profit of it? Owen asked quietly. Information, the scribe replied. You talk for an hour, and then I talk for an hour. You pick the subject. Intrigued? I am kind of, but, I wonder if... Alright, let me, I want to see if we get... I'm guessing that we get something out of him. Yep, we do. Not yet. Gorath shook his head. We haven't the time, he said, patting Owen on the shoulder. We have things we have to do. And by things we have to do, I mean mark the appropriate skill. Alright. The scribe listened. When at last Gorath had exhausted himself, he asked the man what he might know about assassins operating in the kingdom, and he discovered all he knew on the subject. "That's about it," the scribe said at the last, and folded his hands in his laps. "Helpful? More than you know," James said. "I think we'll now have a better chance of spotting ambushes, but it's time we left." The scribe nodded. "I have things to do as well. I have to find out what's happened with one of my assistants, so I may be gone for a while. Good traveling." The party's scouting ability has increased. Very nice. 86. Let's go ahead and mark that. 81. Go ahead and mark that. And 43. He was at 30 before, so he gained 13. According to this, it gives 8. Whatever. I'm good with that. Let's see. Any other buildings around here? Nope, there is a well. And we heard something about the well, didn't we? It was an unusual well. James ran his hand across the wooden crank. Tried to turn it, but discovered it was jammed. Reaching down to get a better grip, his fingers scraped against something hard and smooth. It was a small, round lock. I believe I'm familiar with this kind of lock. In days past, some men required their ladies to wear locked undergarments as an assurance of chastity while they were away. As the stories go, the men gave the keys to these undergarments to none but their closest and most trusted friends. Naturally, the ladies did everything in their power to convince the friends to use their key to remove the uncomfortable things. And many illicit romances were said to have developed. The lock was always replaced before the husband returned, but after unlocking the device, the key was often left with the friend for the next time the husband went away. In the meantime, the secret lovers would sometimes find an abandoned well, put one of these locks, and use the key to hide love notes. Shall we try to open it? That is, like, super creepy. James checked their keys. Finding a virtue key, he moved to the well, found the lock, and inserted the small key, turning it gently. The lock was a bit rusty, but after a few seconds he was able to twist the key in the lock, producing a satisfying click. The handle now unlocked, he cranked it in a clockwise motion, and after about a dozen turns, a dry bucket emerged from the well. Searching inside, they found something small and covered with dirt and leaves. It was a knight's piece. Well, hey. Someone had paid a great deal to have the chess piece made. The marbled soapstone from which it had been carved was of a type available only from a hellish region within Great Kesh, known as the Jalpur Desert, an area also renowned for its Gedajii, a Keshian brotherhood of thief assassins. Well, it's a good thing we had virtue keys. I still have one. No, that's the Royal Key of Krondor. My bad. I do not have any more. No, wait. That's a virtue key, right. I got plenty of virtue keys. Oh, ladies, anyone have a chastity belt on? James and friends are in town. James was about to knock on the door when suddenly he straightened, and with a broad smile, his face jumped back to survey the entire house. "I know this place. I stayed in this house a year ago while journeying to Northwarden to see a friend. There was a beautiful young lady named Cylindra living here. We got kind of friendly over supper, and in the middle of the night she snuck into my room." So, is this where you heard about the chastity belt? He knocked on the door, beaming with anticipation. A moment later, a beautiful young woman answered. "Yes, can I—" "James?" A smile of recognition crossed her lips, but it was quickly replaced with an expression of great concern. "I am—" Before she could finish her sentence, she was brushed aside by two rather large hands, one of which curled into a rather large fist, and hit James rather hard in the face. When his vision had cleared sufficiently, the woman stood over him. "I'd like you to meet my husband. I've told him all about you." Well, wasn't that fun, James? Doesn't seem to have made you any the worse for wear, though. Did I look in this other building? but I'll take their 3 silver pieces. Hey, a shop. What do you got for sale? Jewels, keys, rings. Diamonds for 4,050. Ah, so you could buy a virtue key. Wait, do they? No, they have a 75% Moradel brooch and a 100% Moradel brooch. Nope, didn't think so. Did not think so. Worth a shot, though, right? Guess I don't have anything to sell them. Okay. That is very disappointing. Kenton Rush is pretty big as villages go. Private residence. The smell of fresh bread filled the air as James knocked on the door. It made his stomach grumble hungrily. After a short wait, they were greeted by a short man with a big belly. He had flour on the side of his face and the bridge of his nose, which he wiped at with the back of his hand as he spoke. "Yes, what can we do for you?" he asked. James noticed a woman inside the house. She too was covered with flour. "Oh, we don't mean to interrupt," he said, "but we smelled the bread and thought we might come by." "Sorry, we have an exclusive arrangement with Tabar at the Candlemaker's Grin. If you want something to eat, you will have to go there. It's just down the road, so you shouldn't have much trouble finding it. Now, we really have to get back to work." But we'd pay you. Private residence. Pigeons cooed inside the house. Lots of them. James waited patiently for someone to answer his knock. After several seconds, a freckled-faced boy came to the door and showed them inside. A pleasant-looking man stood near a large wire-lined cage that seemed to take up almost the entire room. It was alive with pigeons, and the man was stroking a small one, trying to coax it back inside. "Come on now," he said gently. "Come on, get in there." The bird refused to cooperate. James cleared his throat, causing the man to look up with surprise. The bird flew out of his hand and began to circle near the ceiling. "Blast it, these birds are no better than kids. Won't do a darn thing you tell them to." In the corner, the young boy smiled. "I talk of a magic spell called Thy Master's Will that is supposed to command flying beasts, but I think it's more for wyverns than anything else. You need one of their eggs, too, I guess." He wiped his hand on a towel and had the young boy fetch them some fresh water. After a brief conversation, they left. Alright, that is what we need the wyvern's egg for, but we do not have the spell, so I did not buy any. And they don't stack, I don't think. James knocked on the door. For a long moment, he leaned against the door frame as he waited, positioning himself so he could listen for the sounds of any stirrings inside. When at last it was evident no one was coming, he stepped back with a shrug. Doesn't seem that anyone's about. All right, we got a temple up there. Kenton Rush. Well, there were some other buildings down here. Private residence. No one answered James' persistent knocking. After circling the house, he announced, "Either the occupants slipped out, or they're ignoring us, or they're stone-dead sleepers. Whatever the case may be, we would probably have better luck if we moved on." Another private residence. James pushed open the wooden door. "No one has lived here in some time," he said, looking around the empty room. Building's windows were shoddy. Even money says it's a tavern. Okay, Candlemaker's Grin. Oh, hey, Nia. It's nice to see you here again. Also the priestess from the Yortis Temple. Candlemaker's Grin. Within, the accommodations were humble. Several splintering tables had been jammed into the common room and arranged to accommodate perhaps 25 men, 30 if hunger pressed them. Greasy stains covered benches and walls, evidence of wild days past. But it is about time to end the episode, so when we come back next time, we'll see what goods and services the tavern here has to offer, and how much they'll pay us for James to play the lute. See you next time, everyone.